This next move that I'm going to show you guys was shown to me by a very good French black belt who is a very light guy. He probably weighs no more than 145 pounds, and we get together and train every couple of years. And last time we trained together, he caught me with this move 3 times in a row, and I was so impressed by it. I asked him to show it to me straight away, and this is what it is. It's an attack from, so we start in closed guard, progress to open guard, and then look at an arm lock from there. So let's check it out. So I'm going to be in the closed guard and looking to control one of my opponent's sleeves. It's usually pretty easy to do because he will naturally, most guys will use this particular grip to put the lapels together and brace and prepare to stand up. So when he does that, I'm going to preempt the fact that he's going to stand by taking 2 pocket grips and locking my elbows in close to my body over here. Now sooner or later, because this grip is so strong, he's unable to break it. He will need to stand up. And as he does so, the first thing I'm going to do is open my guard and put one of my feet on the same side as the arm that I'm controlling on his hip. And then it's very important to do these 2 little things. The first is to push him away slightly, but not so much that your leg is fully extended, because then it becomes very weak, it can fall off. I always want a little bit of flexion in this leg, so it's bent, and I'm going to shuffle my shoulders back a little bit. It's a very powerful attacking position here. There's many options. I just have to keep aware. I never want this foot floating too close to him, because a good guy will grab your ankle, push your foot to the ground and hop over and start to pass. So that's the main thing. Once I establish this position, I want to take that ankle as far away from him as possible. I absolutely do not want him to touch that ankle, because if he does, a good guy will pass. However, I will be offering him this leg in a minute. Just before we look at this particular technique, just a quick refresher for you guys from this position. You know from here, there's many attacking options. The easiest one and one of the most effective is to go to the tripod. If you fail that, you can transition to the tomahawk. Nice move that Roger Gracie caught Shunday with in the final of the Pan Ams is from here. He waited for his opponent to try to push the leg off, and then he went into the triangle choke. All very valid options. This one's a little bit sneakier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bait him by offering him this knee. So the way to do that is I keep my ankle far away, but I bring my leg reasonably close. And that will lead him to take a grip on the knee very often. Most of the time, a good guy will see that as a nice position for him to have control on this knee. As he does that, I'm going to sit up and catch around his wrist with a very particular detail, and that is this bone in my elbow wants to be hooking over his wrist joint, and my hand is going to take a pincer grip behind his elbow joint. So as I sit up, I do that and I catch that grip there. And now, this is a very important detail as well. I'm going to kick violently that way and pull his wrist into my armpit. That's the detail that this technique will fail if you do not get that part right. As I kick, I pop his wrist in my armpit and I clamp it as tight as I can. If his wrist can turn, this will not work. So make sure you are squeezing really tight there to immobilize his hand and his wrist. Now to finish the attack, I'm going to bring this leg onto his hip, and the way I do that is just to square my hips. From there, the next thing I need to focus on is the immobilization of his shoulder joint. We know that to attack a particular joint in Jiu-Jitsu, it's far more effective if you immobilize the joint directly above, which is his wrist, which we've got already, and the joint directly below, below, which is his shoulder joint. So what I'm going to do is pinch my knees together to control that shoulder joint. That's what does it. And then all I need to do is elevate my hips, and you've got a tight arm lock that will make the guy tap. And that, guys, I call that the grip strip arm lock from the open guard, because you strip his grip off by kicking and then popping him into it. It's a very, very powerful move. You'll catch many people with it. This next technique that I'm going to show you is an escape from a very specific scenario, which is technical mount. So when you are going to use a regular escape from mount and your opponent counters by moving into the technical mount, which is a very common scenario actually. And I know this little move works because my coach, who is probably the best mount in the world, Roger Gracie, I managed to successfully escape from his mount a couple of times using this particular technique. Eventually figured out what I was doing and he was able to smash me after that, but until then it worked really effectively. I want to share it with you guys now. And so the classic mount escape that most of us know is I want to get my elbow in and get onto my side to look to create leverage by snaking my hips out and prizing his knees apart. Problem is, any decent blue purple belt is going to transition straight away from there into the technical mount. Right now here, if I keep snaking, he will just follow me and keep moving around. So it's not a very good idea to keep doing that. I have to change my approach. And just like most jiu-jitsu moves or techniques, I'm going to use my hips to generate the power and the leverage I require. There's a very specific movement I'm going to use from here, which I call the hip scoop. So instead of pushing my pelvis back using a snake or a shrimp movement, I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to try to scoop my hips underneath my body and square them up and then actually push them through to the other side. But before I do that, I want to control my opponent's knee here. I want to take a grip. What I have to be aware of with this particular technique is there is potential that he might be able to armbar me here, but that is greatly reduced if A, you have a grip, and B, you keep your elbow close to your body. It's almost impossible for him to get that arm lock. So once I've set my grip, controlling his knee, I'm going to engage my feet on the floor because I want a powerful movement, and the feet are the root of the hip scooping movement. Now from here, I'm going to pick his ankle up off the floor, literally scoop it up using that movement. As I do that, you'll notice Ollie's balance is broken already. Straight away he sat back because he lost balance. From here, I'm going to keep pushing his knee out and just continue to snake my hips or scoop my hips underneath myself here to knock him down. And then from there, I can face up, ready to fight. And I've gone from being in a really bad position, the mount, to not so bad, which is inside my opponent's guard. And that is the hip scoop escape from technical mount. Very, very nice little trick. I guarantee you it's going to pay dividends if you practice it. One of the things I'm constantly trying to impart to my jiu-jitsu students is the more effectively you can use your hips, the better you're going to be at jiu-jitsu. And there's a particular style of hip movement that is very, very powerful for many different guard passing scenarios. I call it the ninja because it just works so effectively. Like, I can't even see it coming most of the time. And the particular scenario we're going to demonstrate it with today is what to do when you're using the classic knee slice pass and your opponent counters it. So let's have a look. One of the most common and best passes in jiu-jitsu is the knee slice, which usually works something like this. You start passing, and most of the time, the last-ditch effort that your opponent's going to use to defend that is he's going to bring his thigh across here. And then if you continue trying to knee slice, it's just not going to work. This is too powerful. So the way we're going to counter that is by using the ninja hip movement. So your hand that was controlling his sleeve, usually we're pulling up on his sleeve here to take away his ability to base his elbow on the ground. What it's going to do is plant flat on the floor, quite far away from him, not too close. If you place it too close, he will maybe chop your arm out or go for a cutting arm bar there. So that's not a good idea. You want to place your hand far out so you've got a nice base. And then I'm going to use the first hip torquing movement. So from here, while I have my nice base, I'm going to switch my hips towards Ollie and put my shin right on his body. It's important that you commit with this move. I don't want to do it halfway. I want to actually put my knee on him and be resting on him. So now my whole weight is being carried by Ollie's torso over here. Now, what I do, the second I've done that and put my knee on his chest, I open this knee up, my top knee. And 99 times out of 100, a good jiu-jitsu guy, he's going to use the butterfly hook in your knee and try to sweep you. So now I time it as I feel that butterfly hook engage. I'd use the hip torque again. There, dropping my knee to the floor. And what you'll notice here is I've completely isolated and dominated his hips. Very simple to continue a pass from here. I personally would drive his knee to the ground, snake back, and then establish my side mount. So that move, the ninja, is one excellent application of using your hips and that little torquing movement of your hips to accomplish your objectives in Jiu-Jitsu.